Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Just when you thought the Conservatives were the party of absolute dissent, the Labour Party strut up and say, "Hold my beer." And how do they do this, you ask? Well, firstly, they try and get rid of Tom Watson. Tom Watson is the deputy leader of the Labour Party. Now, he is not selected by Jeremy Corbyn. He is elected by party membership. Therefore, he can only be ousted by party membership or by introducing a, let's say, abolishment of role. So there would never be a deputy leader of their party. Since the role of deputy leader of the Labour Party would have within itself a fair few responsibilities, they would need to be reallocated first. Tom Watson had declared that Labour is a Remain party. This is what had started it. Although, I would say it is more the straw that broke the camel's back, because what he had done before was leak things about the party repeatedly and continually shooting down positions the party holds. The problem the Labour Party has is Corbyn's refusing to take a stance on Leave or Remain. This has gotten so bad for him that even the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has said that staying neutral is no longer an option, with him also tearing into Jeremy Corbyn for it. Leader of the unions, a union, Len McCluskey, has said that the shadow cabinet members should step aside. We are 37 days away from leaving the EU, and the Labour Party has in spectacular fashion fallen apart. The majority of this also stemmed from an article he wrote where it was clear he was not going to campaign for Leave or Remain but leave that to the people, which got a lot of his party members quite cross. Some going so far as to make very, very open speeches at a very large protest, saying that the party leader risks losing a third of its voters, with her saying that Labour must now decide whether it backs Leave or Remain. But I would argue this is not an option Labour should be considering, because this isn't a do-over vote. This is not a do-over referendum or a continue voting until you get the result you want. You lost. While Corbyn is, as always, inconsistent when it comes to his policy positions, while claiming he has a manifesto ready should an election campaign be called, he's being placed between a rock and a moron place. The moron place being to campaign to remain in the EU after the country already voted to leave, on the grounds that the vote was no longer legitimate after 3 years of you guys screwing up. During a number of votes within the Labour Party conference stoof, they voted to, for the next manifesto, abolish any and all private education in the United Kingdom. And going back to one of the many blows that hit Jeremy Corbyn, one of his aides has decided he is going to step away because he wishes to spend more time with his family. The aide in question is Andrew Fisher. Now, this isn't entirely the case, because upon closer inspection, he wrote an article in the Times indicating that the leader lacked professionalism, competence, and human decency, with Corbyn trying to play it down by saying that he was a great friend and just distressed and this is all normal. Andrew Fisher, for those who don't know, wrote the 2017 Labour Party manifesto, and he no longer believes that Jeremy Corbyn could run the country. Many also saying that even Jeremy Corbyn doesn't want to be Prime Minister, no matter how many times he says he does. People close to him who have then moved away from him, which has had fuel added to it because of an interview Jeremy Corbyn did for the BBC where he didn't answer it directly. When asked about whether or not he wanted to run the country, he fobbed it off. And I can't play the clip because the BBC are dicks. All this does is show that Jeremy Corbyn is taking a backward step and allowing everyone else to decide for him, which is not what a leader should do. It is an option for a leader, yes, but it is not the correct one, because by allowing his party to continue to fight for Remain, his party is already guaranteeing themselves a heavy loss at whichever time it is the next general election is called. He would not be good enough to be a caretaker Prime Minister unless he gets control of his party, something which many believe he is not doing. Former Labour MP, for example, Ian Austin, launching a campaign to attack Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, something which I've heard him do many times during very lengthy debates in Parliament very recently. It was entertaining. At this present time, there are only two leaders of their respective parties who actually have control in common. That would be the SNP's Ian Blackford and Joe Swinson, which is pretty tragic, really. Let's hope more people defect to the Lib Dems, so when Brexit's over, their one-dimensional policy falls apart. I can't wait to see how she handles that. I am also looking forward to the day that the SNP are no longer the third largest party in the Common. Scotland's voices, after all, will be heard. As far as this goes, Labour trying to oust the Deputy Prime Minister and failing, which Tom Watson has spoken about. I didn't hear him say lol in any of the interviews, but in retrospect, that was all he had to say. Upon closer inspection of what Labour want to vote on in favour of social care as well, which would cost £8 billion to fund, and many other policies they are agreeing on at the moment that would cost tens of billions, it is quite scary that they're thinking of spend, but not thinking of where the money comes from. And in truth, I don't really have anything against private education, so I don't really care. And as far as Brexit goes with the Labour Party, you are cementing the belief you are the inconsistent party that believes they are the government in waiting. You are as bad as the Conservatives in that regard.